Testing Zoom audio feed. Testing Zoom audio feed. Testing Zoom audio feed. 1, 2, 3, 4. Testing Zoom audio feed. I'm heading right outside now. Testing Zoom audio feed. 1, 2, 3, 4. Testing Zoom audio feed. Are we good? Heading right outside now. Testing Zoom audio feed. 1, 2, 3, 4. Testing. Yep. Zoom audio feed. Are we good? Testing Zoom audio feed. 1, 2, 3, 4. Testing. Yep. Zoom audio feed. Are we good? Testing Zoom audio feed. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep. Zoom audio feed. Are we good? Testing Zoom audio feed. 1, 2, 3, 4. I do not hear any feedback. Here we are, testing, testing, testing. We're good. Can you? I do not hear the mic. I still do not hear the microphone.
order this meeting of the San Bernardino County Advisory Commission today, Wednesday, September 22nd, 2021. This morning, we would like to welcome Pastor Mike Eddy from Transformation Calvary in Rancho Cucamonga, who will lead us in the invocation and Pledge of Allegiance. Pastor Mike Eddy was born and raised in Southern California. He accepted Jesus Christ as Lord and Savior in 1981 at Calvary Chapel, West Covina, and moved to Rancho Cucamonga in 1986. He began to fellowship at Calvary Chapel, Rancho Cucamonga in 1988 and entered full-time ministry in 1998, excuse me. Pastor Eddy has also served as chaplain for the Rancho Cucamonga Fire District since 2014. Pastor Eddy and his wife Nina have been married since 1990, and they have a son, Brian, daughter Jennifer, and two grandsons, Jordan and Elijah. Thank you, Pastor Eddy. We appreciate you joining us this morning.
Thank you, Board, for having me. It's an honor to be here. I was thinking about this morning and what you guys are all meeting here for on the behalf of our city and the county, and just was thinking about what you might need today. And what came to mind was this ancient king of Israel, Solomon. And God had asked him, what do you want? And he said, I'm a child. I don't know how to come in or go out. I'm asking for understanding to discern justice. In other words, wisdom. So I thought no better thing than to ask for this board to have wisdom on all the decisions you guys got to make day in and day out on behalf of myself personally, for being a resident here, but also for our county. So thank you. And I just thought we would ask God to give you wisdom. So Father, we come to you. I do thank you for the absolute privilege. I do pray for this board, for all that are attending, for the input, and Lord, for the final decision on all matters, but especially in the redistricting and what you may want to do. So give them wisdom and discernment for understanding. And I ask this in my Savior's name, Jesus Christ. Amen. So if you would join me in the pledge, that'd be wonderful. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much.
Thank you. At this time, we will take roll call of the commission. Madam Secretary, Ms. Monell.
Thank you, Madam Vice Chair. Judge Davis. Vice Chair King.
Present.
Judge King.
Present.
Commissioner Creffield.
Present.
Commissioner Little.
Here.
Commissioner Basley. Commissioner Jernigan.
Present.
Commissioner Anderson. Commissioner Shannon. Commissioner Runnels. Commissioner Hazlett.
Present.
Commissioner Wilson. Thank you, Madam Vice Chair. Let the record show that Commissioner Hazlett is the alternate today for Commissioner Basley.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. At this time, we will review and move to approve the September 15th meeting minutes.
So moved.
Second.
I would like to see if there's any comment from the commissioners in regard to the minutes. Seeing none. Madam Secretary, do we have any public comment?
We do not, ma'am.
Thank you. At this time, we'll vote to approve the motion. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, the motion is passed. Now we will ask our commissioners to report on any public events they attended in the past week. Yes, Commissioner Hazlett. I'm sorry.
Last Wednesday night, I attended the San Bernardino City Council meeting. In the 3 minutes of public comment, I presented on our role and responsibility as redistricting commissioners. I let folks know that they can access the website. I left the collateral material that was presented at our last meeting. And then in addition to that, we have added the collateral material onto our website with Greater Ontario Business Council. And that collateral is present in our offices here in Ontario. And then I look forward to attending additional meetings through the month of October. We got a couple of community events in Ontario and the surrounding cities, including Chino and Chino Hills. So I will be representing the 4th Ward, or 4th District very well. So, and thank you all for allowing this.
Thank you, Commissioner Hazlett. Commissioner Jernigan.
Although I haven't attended any meetings last week, but tonight we have a town hall meeting at 6:30, from 6 to 7:30, I believe it is. That's what it is. And I will be speaking at that meeting.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Jernigan. Do the other commissioners have anything?
Yes.
Commissioner Crutchfield.
Yes, just wanted to mention that the Greater High Desert Chamber of Commerce has a weekly coffee this Friday that I will put on my commissioner hat and report about what we've been doing, and most importantly, that we'll also have a Hesperia meeting next week. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Crutchfield. Do any of the commissioners have anything else to add or any questions? The alternate commissioners, do you have any questions or comment? Thank you. Madam Secretary, do we have any requests for public comment?
We do not, Madam Vice Chair.
Thank you. We will now be moving to the third agenda item. Pamela Williams will provide a report on 2 motions from the last meeting. Motion 1, adding additional meetings in the cities of Redlands, Loma Linda, and Highland. And the second motion being providing virtual public participation for the October 14th, 2021 meeting at the Board of Supervisors Chambers in San Bernardino.
Good morning, Commissioners. Thank you so much. So in regard to the additional items request, or the additional meetings request, due to the limited time frame for the redistricting process and in consideration of the currently scheduled commission meetings occurring weekly now through December 7th, we are unable to add any additional commission meetings at this time.
Thank you, Ms. Williams. Do any of the commission members have any comments or questions for Ms. Williams?
If I may, I appreciate your thoughts on that, Ms. Williams, and we discussed this last week at the other meeting. The one thing I'd like to add, and maybe Ms. Serber can correct me if I'm wrong, but we can meet effectively no more frequently than every 5 days, because if we consider a map, it has to be published for the following meeting with 5 days advance notice. Is that correct? I'm going to stop now. Is that correct, Ms. Serber?
Yes, it is. Until the only time that shortens is when we're within 30 days of December 15th, but effectively it is 5 days notice that is required.
So, and I appreciate that. Your answers are always a lot more technical than I expect, but it's good that they're very correct, I'm sure. So if we meet on a Thursday and we want to meet on the following Thursday, we can't just insert a Tuesday meeting, it sounds like, and be in compliance with Brown Act requirements.
Not and add to that agenda any maps that you discussed at that first Thursday meeting, because there wouldn't be time to appropriately agendize and publish those maps.
The only thing I'd say is Redlands, we've gotten some nice correspondence, and again, I'll say that we all read every word of what we get, and it's very valuable input that we get by email, and there's some that we're going to probably address later on in this meeting. Redlands is a great city, important to the county and so forth. I do think they're in a great situation to give us input on our proceedings. We met in the adjacent city of San Bernardino back in July. We have an evening meeting coming up October 14. I encourage everybody from Redlands, Loma Linda, Highland, and Colton, for that matter, to come to that meeting and address us in the evening of October 14. And then at the end of our proceedings, where we hand this over to the County Board of Supervisors, we have meetings on November 9, 16, and then December 7, again in the adjacent town of San Bernardino. I think there are 26 municipalities in the county of San Bernardino. We have fewer than 26 meetings, so there's a few places like Chino, for example, does not have a meeting, but there's adjacent meetings. Victorville doesn't, is there a Chino meeting? Chino Hills has a meeting, but I don't think Chino does. Victorville doesn't have a meeting, but we met in Apple Valley. We're meeting in Hesperia. So I think we're being pretty fair about spreading our meetings around and making sure people have input, but there are places that we're not technically in the city limits of the great city of Redlands, but we did meet in Yucaipa and 4 times in the Board of Supervisors chambers and do value their input and want to hear from them.
Thank you, Commissioner Little. Do any of the other commissioners have any questions or comments? Do the alternates have any questions or comments on this item? Thank you. Ms. Williams, did you want to move on to the second?
Yes, thank you, Vice Chair. So with regard to virtual public participation, our county team is still evaluating this request from a capacity and technology standpoint. It is our recommendation that we proceed as planned, but if we are able to accommodate this request, I will let the commission know in advance.
Thank you, Ms. Williams. I will ask once more if the commissioners or alternate commissioners have any questions or comments regarding either motion. Seeing none. Madam Secretary, do we have any requests for public comment?
We do not, Madam Vice Chair.
Thank you. Okay. Moving on to the fourth item on the agenda. Presentators Max Rexroad and Fabian Valdez Jr. from Redistricting Insights are with us virtually for a question and answer presentation.
Okay, so this is Matt Rexroad, and I'll just kind of start off to kind of let you all know where we are in terms of the data. As we reported to you previously, we have loaded the census data in, and that's now on the public portal that's available. Yesterday, and we've talked about this previously, but the statewide database released the prison populations, and we're still analyzing that and taking a look at it to make sure that it's correct. And then eventually that will also be loaded into the public portal for members of the public to be able to draw with that data included. And once that's complete, we will have all the data necessary to be able to draw lines accurately with the data that we will use to finalize this process. And so now that the Redistricting R tool is completed and up on the website and rolling, once again, though, without prisoner data that just got released yesterday, we thought that Fabian would go over for you and show you now that all the tools are loaded and everything that's in there. Once again, the only thing that's missing is that prisoner population data that was released yesterday. And then once that's completed relatively soon, everyone will have everything that they need to be able to fully participate in this process. So Fabian, why don't you take it?
Thank you. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. And hopefully y'all can see it. Matt, can you give me a thumbs up if you can see that? Thank you. So we updated the tool for the map to do online redistricting for the county, and we included now the 2020 census data. Now, when we did that, we had to redraw the census block lines. Originally, we had the 2010 information in there, which was based on 2010 census block shapes. Those block shapes have been changed for the 2020 census. So we had to kind of load a whole new map in to be able to do this. But what that does is it makes all the older maps unable to work on 2020 block lines. So now we have a new data set to use, has all the newest information. I can show you, I've already created one just to get started. It's the same process as before, except now when you make a new plan, you can see the 2020 census data will be available for people to use. And inside the system, I made a couple of small changes based on some feedback from users and from the commission. First,
I want you to just take a look. I added in the current district boundary lines. Let me actually make it a little easier to see here. Current district boundary lines. So these are the red lines, and you can see in the options it shows you the current supervisor. So the current supervisor lines are now a little more visible for you to see. Also, you can see I have highlighted out the census designated places and cities that are indicated on the census. So, for instance, Lucerne Valley, Big Bear City, Adelanto, and you can see their shapes as well. And then I also made it available so now you should be able to select by different sizes. So now you can select by block group, or tract. And any of these work. So if I were to select by tract, for instance, and were to click an area, I would get an entire census tract, which includes all the census block groups and census blocks within that tract. And you can see it's a little larger of an area than a block would be. Same thing with block group is just a little bit larger than a block, and then the block would be the interior. So the last part I wanted to mention is when doing the update for the system, we try to optimize as best we can to make it a little more responsive to people as they're using it. One thing we did is we made it so the numbers you see here are the geography for the layer that is the easiest to see at the level you're at. So currently at this level, this is the block group level. It's very easy to see the block group level. And you can see these kind of bluish lines here. And that's what these numbers correspond to, is the block group level population. If I were to zoom in into an area, we now come to the block level as we get closer in. And now you can see the block level has the population numbers. As Matt indicated, once we have the census data, the reapportioned data for the prison population, reallocation data, once we have that loaded into the system, these numbers will be reflective of that reallocation number. And we will also have within here, the population will be a population adjusted, and we will also have a population census number. That way you can see the difference between the two. Anybody have any questions while I have the map system open?
At this time, I don't see any questions from the commissioners or alternate commissioners.
Wonderful. And if anything does come up as you go back into the tool and start using it again, I know I spoke with a couple commissioners last time I was in Rialto with y'all. If anything does come up, you have problems, you have issues, you have questions, please just contact me and we can work through it for you.
Thank you, Mr. Valdez. Yes, Commissioner Hazlett.
Thank you for that. So looking at the map tool and now having the supervisorial lines drawn in the red, is there a shortcut that we could do so we just adjust the supervisorial lines without going in and having to create brand new maps? Can I grab a supervisorial line, adjust it down either into a geographical boundary or a man-made boundary and do adjustments to the map in that way? Or do I have to actually census block to census block to census block?
Muted, sorry. That's a great question. It's a great question. We did not enable you to be able to select by supervisor district, and for one specific reason. Those supervisor districts were drawn with 2010 block shapes. And so if you were to click on a supervisor district now and select by that, the lines don't match because the census block shapes have changed. So if you were to select by it, you would be cutting into other districts and it would not do what you think it's doing. For instance, there's a lot of straight lines in the current census, in the current supervisor shapes. Those straight lines are no longer straight according to census block shapes. So in order to kind of head off any real issues with that, we opted instead to give census block group and census tract. And what those allow is it allows a larger census area to be selected. So it includes lots of blocks. And it'll get you close enough to that line without you having to click 100,000 times. You can click, maybe 10 times and get the whole district into your shape. Hopefully that explains it better.
Why don't you mention basically the Lasso tool that goes around
absolutely.
So that people can understand that? That might be a good way for people to be able to basically draw the same lines with just a few clicks.
Sure, and I can show you, that's a great point. So there is this tool here. So I've been showing you how you can click with a single select here. You can also do it with a circle. With a circle, you can literally just draw a circle, and anything in the radius of that circle will get captured and added to your district. And you also have a draw shape tool. And the draw shape tool allows you to draw a shape, and you double click to close it, and it will select everything within that shape. And so it gives you the ability to draw in a much quicker fashion than selecting one block at a time with a single selection tool as well.
So Fabian, when I am using the draw shape tool, because I've been playing around with this, so it is going to then move the boundaries to the census block automatically.
I'm not sure I follow. Could you repeat that?
So the block shape tool, if I'm utilizing that, as you did with the circular one, it's going to conform itself. It's not going to stay in the pattern that I drew. It's going to actually push itself or shrink itself to the census block and not divide blocks.
Exactly. It does not allow you to divide blocks. That is accurate. It does not allow you to divide blocks because we don't have population for divided blocks. We only have population for blocks as reported by the census. So that is accurate. And what it will do is it will take any block that your shape is touching. So you notice when I drew the shape, I drew a line maybe right here, but it took this block here because it was touching in that block. So it's assuming if my shape was touching the block, I wanted it in my shape.
And final question, are there any census blocks that are divided within city boundaries?
So you're asking, are there cities where the line of the city splits a census block? Is that correct? Yes. Does it happen? Yes. I cannot attest to how many times it happens in the county or whether or not it's even happened in the county. Typically, and when I say typically, I mean 9 times out of 10, typically the census tries to keep their block shapes within the boundaries that the cities have reported. But I do see it now and then where, in an example, I'll use an area like up here in Fort Irwin, if I can get in a little closer up here to Fort Irwin.
But it's not a city.
No, but I just want to use an example here. So Yermo, this is an example. With areas that are small, that have large unincorporated areas around them, now and then you will see when you select a block that you select a block and it includes the unincorporated area next to it. I'm not saying that's happened with Yermo. In fact, it looks like Yermo is okay. It doesn't do that, but that is where I have seen it most commonly, where a block will be partially outside and partially inside the boundary. But for the most part, the census does a pretty good job of keeping those blocks within the city boundaries as indicated by the municipality.
One other point that I would like to make is that census blocks is pretty much the lowest unit that we can go to draw these lines, unless you have a really exceptional set of circumstances. And for example, the census block doesn't have anyone in it. My strongest recommendation is that you don't split census blocks because it causes problems. And we don't know if it has people in it. We don't know exactly where those people are within the block. The other is that these census block numbers and the city boundaries are reflective of April 1st, 2020. And so if the city of Apple Valley, for example, or Ontario has incorporated new property, these maps do not reflect that if they've annexed changes since April 1st of 2020. So just if you can keep that in mind, if there's been any boundary changes.
Thank you, gentlemen.
One other question.
Yes, Commissioner Jernigan.
What is your best estimate on the relocation data for the prisons to have it loaded into the?
Best estimate, we are trying to get a full copy of it now from the statewide database. It was released yesterday, but they did not actually put the link live on their website. So they said they released it, and then the link just said processing. And so we were waiting for that to become live to pull those data out. Once we have the data and we can look at it to make sure it is quality control, basically make sure it's doing what it's supposed to do and we think it's correct, then we will load it onto the system. Realistically, that process shouldn't take longer than about a week. Typically, in practice, I've found that I can get those things done much quicker if we have the files. So provided I have the data in hand today and we can start doing our quality control checks, I would ideally like to have this uploaded for you over the weekend, so that way starting Monday you have the adjusted data. Hopefully that works out. If it does not, I would say by midweek next week.
And as soon as we're done with that, we'll let Pam know, and then she can update you all and let you know the status of the tool, the public tool.
Thank you.
Thank you. Do the commissioners have any other questions or comments for Mr. Rexroad and Mr. Valdez? The alternates, commissioners? Okay. Seeing no other comments or questions, I'm going to open it up for public comment. We do have 3 speakers that would like to come up. I would like to call up first Nadia Castro from Rancho Cucamonga.
Do I use this one?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. That presentation was excellent on the map. And the reason why I say that is because in doing my COI, I was looking at it and I go, wow, I can't believe, it's hard for me to determine where my district ends and where it starts. And then there have been times where I invite my, community, and they live in Upper Upland or Southern Fontana, but they cannot come with me to our representative, Pete Aguilar, because they belong to a different district. So now I understand what's going on. So anyway, thank you for this opportunity to testify. My name is Nadia Castro. I'm the chairperson of the National Ecumenical Forum for Filipino Concerns in the Inland Empire. And we are one of the partners of the Brown and Black Redistricting Alliance. I am of Filipino descent and have lived in the United States for more than 45 years, and in the city of Rancho Cucamonga for 25 years. I live in District 31, as I mentioned earlier, which currently includes only part of Upland and Fontana. I would like to see the district line to include the entire cities of Upland and Fontana. There is a growing number of Asians in North Upland and South Fontana, in addition to the Hispanics and Latinos. We actively participate and interact with different ministries in our parishes and have organized various multicultural events celebrating our diverse cultural histories. And we have also been challenged by the rapidly rising cost of homes that add stress to the overall rise in the cost of living in my entire community. We also have observed gradual increases in the number of homeless individuals on the eastern part of my community. The lack of affordable housing in my community is also making it difficult for young Hispanic, Latino, and Asian families to find homes that will make their commuting westward, where their work is located, and make it more manageable and less time-consuming. I believe that including northern part of Upland and southern part of Fontana together would also improve overall real estate by eliminating possible redlining. However, in spite of these challenges, we have learned that when we as a community come together and organize ourselves, we speak with a larger voice, and our local authorities are more inclined to listen to our appeals. So from what I've learned this morning, I go, oh, wow, what I researched was absolutely correct. Cities are not in the same district, so we need to work on that. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. At this time, I'd like to call up.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
I would like to inquire of Ms. Castro, if I may.
Oh, absolutely. I apologize.
I think I have my microphone on. So you were talking about combining Upland and Rancho and portions of Fontana, but you're not, what specific portions are you referring to as including your particular community of interest?
Yeah, well, I'm in District 31, and so I have friends that live in northern in southern Fontana and in northern Upland, but they can't come with me when we have something to present to Representative Pete Aguilar.
Right,
Because they belong to a different district. And so when I was looking at it on the maps, which was difficult until now that I look at it, there are better boundaries that I could see. I couldn't decipher that at first. And then I go, oh, they belong to a different district.
But you're talking about congressional districts, correct? And what we're going to be dealing with in this commission is the county supervisorial districts, which are different.
So it's, okay.
So then Congress is federal and this is county. But certainly the same theory applies on the supervisorial districts wanting to include a entire community of interest. And so I'm curious what portions of Fontana have your particular community of interest, because Fontana is huge, as you well know. It would be much too large of a district in terms of the population to have all of Upland and all of Rancho with Fontana. Off the top of my head, I believe that that's accurate from the numbers. So could you tell me what portions of Fontana are a part of your community of interest?
The South Ridge area of Fontana.
Okay.
I didn't look, my apologies, I looked at this in terms of congressional and I was asked to present. So I didn't look at it in terms of supervisory district. But the South Ridge area of Fontana would be great to be in the same area.
Is that south of the 10 freeway? If I'm correct? Okay.
Closer to Riverside.
Yes.
Yes.
Jurupa Valley area.
Yes.
On the San Bernardino County side.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Also, Ms. Castro, when you're talking about Upland and you're saying North Upland, so you're talking north of the T10 freeway, are you give us because Upland is also divided between two supervisorial districts.
Right.
So I'm curious, what portions of Upland are you?
The northern part of the 210 freeway.
So above the T10 freeway? Or above Foothill?
Oh, above the 210.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so north of the 210.
That's the second supervisorial district. All right. That's interesting. We've now covered 3 different supervisorial districts. The fourth,
That would
or the fifth, the
definitely,
second, and
the population density there would probably restrict us from the boundaries that we would be drawing. So it would behoove you to see if you can actually provide us with a map that we can work from.
Yeah. So it's good that we now have the most current and updated map with the borders, boundaries. Thank you.
You're welcome. Are there any other? Moving on to the second request to speak, Miss Anna Gonzalez from Rialto.
This is on? All right,
Yes.
perfect. Good morning, commissioners. My name is Ana Gonzalez, and I am the interim executive director for the Center for Community Action and Environmental Justice, but I am also the convener for San Bernardino County, representing the Brown and Black Redistricting Alliance. And we have been mobilizing our community members since January in regards to redistricting. And thank you so much for the members who just testified. But just to give you a clearer picture, the Brown and Black Redistricting Alliance is actually advocating for cities to remain whole. And thank you to the consultants for mentioning that the census block shouldn't be split, because I know in the past, the county has split certain census blocks. And so we are encouraging that when the decisions are being made for the maps that are coming up for recommendation, that there are no split census blocks, but especially in encouraging that cities remain whole. For example, the city of Fontana, I know it's huge, and I know that they have over probably 210,000 people now, And there's a huge growth in Latino, Asian, Pacific Islander population. And there has been some shift in our Black community. And so we want to make sure that when the commissioners are looking at the maps, you're looking at the shifts in population growth and shifts in where some of our communities are going to as you're looking at these maps, especially for districts 5, 2, and 4. And so in regards to Rialto, I know Rialto, the city is whole in District 5. And so we would like to see Fontana as a whole, whether it moves into all in District 5 or it moves into District 2, I believe is split into District 2. So that's what we're advocating for. So as you're looking at these maps, we encourage you to not split the cities, because one of the things that is happening when it comes to funding or when it comes to representation, when community members are seeking for support or certain services, especially now with the pandemic and everything that's going on, we see that sometimes community members get confused who the representatives are, or sometimes, they go to one and they say, well, no, I'm not your representative. So then they end up not seeking help because, it just becomes a hassle of finding out who the representative is. And then another thing that we've been looking at is that as the data is coming in, as the consultants also mentioned, is that there's certain areas that are being I'm going to use the word displaced because I'm looking at it as an environmental justice perspective as well, because that's what our organization does.
There's time.
Oh, okay, sorry. I'll submit a written comment later. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. At this time, I would like to call up our third request to speak on this item. And I apologize, I'm going to just call up the first name, Amanda. And if you could let me know how you would say your last name, how you would pronounce it.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, my name is Amanda Dumaginden.
Thank you.
And thank you, commissioners, for giving me this opportunity. I will be speaking as proxy for my good friend and colleague, Dr. Victoria Clamore. This is her COI. This is her testimony and insight on what's the situation of our community. So my name is Dr. Victoria Clamore, a member of the Pastoral Council of St. George Parish in Ontario and Our Lady of Lourdes in Montclair, representing the Filipino community. As a longtime resident of 328 West East Street, Ontario, California, 91762, with contact number 909-272-4950. I am also a longtime activist and a board member of the National Ecumenical Forum for Filipino Concerns. I am a practicing physician in alternative medicine with a clinic in Euclid Avenue, Ontario. I live in a community where Interstate Freeway 10, which transverses the east and west, constitutes a northern border, the Freeway 60 on the south, Euclid Avenue, the inner busy street, on the east, and 71 Freeway on the west. The cities that make up the southwestern part of San Bernardino County include residents of Ontario, Montclair, Upland, Chino Hills, Claremont, Alta Loma, and west side of Rancho Cucamonga. Those residents who enjoy gathering, who are there, gather and work together in a hustle and bustle, busy life for the fast-developing communities, and these areas comprise of multi-ethnic groups such as Latinos, Filipinos, African Americans, Vietnamese, Chinese, Koreans, Indians, who are people from India, Bangladeshi, Pakistani, Indonesian, Laotian, European, and Middle Eastern, who are mostly middle-class background. In Claremont, Upland, and Chino Hills, together with Rancho Cucamonga residents, they are relatively affluent compared to its neighboring Montclair and Ontario residents, where a great number of small establishments and warehouses are operating. It amazes me why my community has more homeless people compared to its neighboring cities. Our churches serve to reconnect us to our shared beliefs and pray and console members who are affected by COVID. We continue to face new challenges in the years ahead, such as growing cases of mental illness, lack of affordable housing, lack of higher paying jobs with a living wage, and equal opportunities to people of color. Filipinos are mostly working in healthcare industries as nurses, physicians, and caregivers. Filipino caregivers in particular are well known in healthcare industry as caring, hardworking, and passionate professionals for our elderly and disabled people. Moreover, in spite of the many challenges that my community had experienced in the past, we continue to thrive and be united as one community. The Ontario Mills and Montclair Plaza continue to stand even after the pandemic and closing down many establishments. Together, when kept together, my community will continue to stand as one, and I would like to ask the Commission to keep my community intact as before. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. That concludes the request to speak on this agenda item. So we move to agenda item 5. At this time, Madam Secretary, she is bringing in a... Moving into general public comment, I would like to call up Virginia Bengalit. I apologize. From Temescal Valley.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Virginia Balanga. I'm also a proxy for one of my colleagues, Joey Ibowi, that lives in Claremont, California, and he's just here. Commissioners, I thank you for giving me the chance to testify today. I am Jose E. Ibowi, a Filipino immigrant who came to the U.S. in 1985. Right now, I am happy to be a part and serving of this growing NEFCON, i.e., an organization, non-profit organization which deals with community concerns, justice, and advocacy, redistricting community information, and the like. I live in a community bounded by Montclair on the east, Laverne and Pomona on the west side. Claremont is a hidden gem in the greater Los Angeles, a quintessential college town of 7 college campuses, a beaming with 3-line streets. The city was founded in April 1887 and was incorporated in October 3, 1907. And we have a council manager taking care of our beautiful city. Claremont is composed mostly of white, then Hispanic, Latino, Asian, African American, and some Native American. We have more senior citizens in the neighborhood who enjoy the quiet, serene everyday life in the city. To them, Claremont is a sweet, smart getaway. Right now, like other places, we also have social, economic, infrastructure, mental health, crimes, safety, and housing problems in the city. A good number of homelessness is starting to grow, probably coming from other places, looking for some sort of quiet place to stay. With these things in mind, we hopefully and willingly like to help our city and also need help from neighboring friends and cities. We will be happy to be of help to them too, that other cities would be able to join us in this situation, if you call it a challenge. Help us in this endeavor, join our hands and hearts in making this plan successful and fruitful soon. I thank you for listening, and I really like my community and city to grow efficiently, peacefully, socially, and economically stable and together. From Jose and Josephine Ibowi. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. I do want to note that Claremont falls into the Los Angeles County district or county lines. So I would encourage you to pursue their redistricting commission, because here in San Bernardino County, Claremont falls outside of our purview. But thank you for your comments. This time, do we have any other calls for public comment?
I believe you had two slips there.
Yes. Sorry, I apologize. There's one here. I'd like to call up Nadia Castro.
This time, I'm here on behalf of a colleague of mine who's not able to take off work to do her own presentation on redistricting. And she states, Commissioners, thank you for providing me the opportunity to testify. My name is Victoria de la Cruz. I am with the National Ecumenical Forum for Filipino Concerns Inland Empire, one of the partners of the Brown and Black Redistricting Alliance. My ethnic background is Filipino, and I immigrated to the United States in 1973. I live in the community where the cities of Rancho Cucamonga, Fontana, Rialto, and Bloomington are contiguous to each other. Freeway 10, Freeway 15, and Freeway 210, Haven Avenue, Sierra Avenue, Baseline Avenue, Foothill Avenue, and Riverside Avenue are the highways and main streets where my community is located. There is a significant minority population in my community: Vietnamese, Filipinos, Ibu, and Hispanic Latino, and many of them are college-educated professionals. We meet each other at our community churches, bring our families to the wide array of dining and entertainment centers, and see others in the schools we bring our children to. As my community's minority population continues to grow, one of the big challenges it faces is proportionate representation on the different levels of government. By keeping this community together, leaders from my community's minority population can come forward and translate their particular community's needs into public programs. Although we are a diverse community, we respect each other's cultural backgrounds and ethnological differences. With the growth in housing and warehouses in the area, we face challenges such as narrow roads, traffic, including big rigs. However, as a community, we were able to come together and address these issues. Therefore, I would like the Commission to keep our community together. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. At this time, I would like to ask if the commissioners have any comment or seeing none. Do the alternate commissioners have any questions or comments?
Concerning the emails we have in our folder.
Yes, Commissioner Anderson.
I'm curious as to when they were doing their presentation, has that been taking care of the problem about the supposed map being wrong? I'll have to refer to it.
Commissioner Anderson, yes, we have forwarded that email to Fabian Valdez to work through with that particular community member to discuss what the lines of that Homestead Valley map should look like.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you, Commissioner Anderson. Do any of the other commissioners or alternates have any other last comments? Okay. Seeing none, I will go ahead and adjourn this. Oh, yes, I'm sorry.
Sorry, Vice Chair. So for staff comments, I would like to take this opportunity to reintroduce my colleague, Mr. David Wirt, Public Information Officer for the County of San Bernardino. David is, again, a colleague of mine in the administrative office, and David will be assisting me in supporting the commission going forward. There are a couple of meetings that I will not be able to attend due to other high priority items that our office is currently working on. And so David will be available to assist the commission in my absence. So I just wanted to make you guys aware of Mr. David Wirt. He provided the public outreach presentation last time, and so he will be able to serve you just as well as I have. So thanks so much.
Great, thank you, and I apologize. Do any of the other staff or commissioners have any comment at this time? Okay, so seeing none, I'm going to go ahead and adjourn this meeting. This meeting of the Advisory Redistricting Commission is now adjourned. The next scheduled meeting will be Wednesday, September 29th at 1 p.m. at the City of Hesperia Council Chambers. Thank you.